morning, dear students of class 12. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to further revise the poem My Mother at 66, and we are going to take up line-wise explanation of the poem. So, this poem, My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das, let us try and appreciate the poem. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Now, if you look at these lines, the poet is recalling a trip back to Cochin from a holiday in a parents' house in the previous week, last Friday. That morning, she was driving with her mother next to her on the front seat. Doors open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. And in these lines, the poet says that she was observing her mother, who had fallen asleep on the front seat with her mouth slightly open. Her face was pale. It reminded her of a nearly white face of a dead body. It is then that she comes to realize that her mother was not younger any longer, and that her appearance had caught up with her age. And this was very hard for the poet to accept. And so she was determined to focus her attention on something else. So she tried to divert her sad thoughts. If we look at line 11 and 15, look at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her van pale. In these lines, the poet says that she turned away her painful thoughts from her aging mother and looked outside the window of the car in which she was driving. Outside, her eyes fell on trees that the vehicle was passing by. The car was moving so fast that by way of relative motion, it seemed to the poet that all the trees she could see were also sprinting, running at full speed past her. It seemed that those trees must have been quite youthful if they had the energy to move at such a fast pace. Now the poet's eyes also feel on the children who were coming out of their houses, spilling out of their homes, merry children, brimming over with their excitement to get outside for games. The poet passed all these sights and reached the airport. Till then, her mind was distracted by the sights, and temporarily she felt better. At the same time, at the airport, she was busy in the security clearance, like checking in of her baggage and getting a boarding pass, boarding ticket. However, after the security check, she was standing a few yards, a short distance away from her mother. And again, she chanced to notice her mother as an old frail woman, just as before her mother appeared very pale and insipid, like a corpse. So the painful thoughts again returned back. If we look at lines 16 to 20, as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood fear. But all I said, see you soon, Amma. All I did was smile and smile and smile. In these lines, the poet compares her mother's face with the sight of the moon on the night towards the end of winter. This made her recall the thing she had been most afraid of during her childhood, the fear that her mother would die one day. The familiar ache, her childhood fear. This was a fear that had plagued her many times before, and today it was again plaguing her. It had returned back with full intensity and had shattered her. However, she did not let this fear show on her face. Instead, she put up a brave face, a brave front, a put-on smile on her face, an artificial smile on her face, and bid goodbye to her mother. She assured her mother that they would be seeing each other again soon. See you soon, Amma. And all the while, even though she was in great agony, great pain, she bid her goodbye by the parting words of reassurance, see you soon, Amma, and smiled and smiled and smiled. The smile did not leave her face while she was bidding goodbye to her mother, although the poet felt sad at heart. She was full of guilt, regret, hopelessness, helplessness. Probably this was the juncture of life when her mother needed her most. But then there were other commitments also probably she had to fulfill and take this step of leaving her mother and proceeding forward on her journey. We will stop here, students, and we'll continue with the remaining literary poetic devices later on. Thank you. Have a nice